Hello there, my lovely frugal friends. How are you all doing today? It's a little bit sort of sunny outside, so aim is to get some washing out because you've got to make the most of that weather to get that washing out and hung up. So I thought we'd have a bit of a chat today in between me doing varying things around the house, trying to get some jobs done. So if you haven't been here before, my name is Samantha and this is the channel Trying to Get By. If you have been here before, well, welcome back, gang. I hope you all doing great. Now, I want to talk to you about my favourite frugal book. I got this book, must be, can't believe I'm going to admit this, 20 years ago, roughly. Let me show you. This is my copy of the Tightwad Gazette. If you have seen it, you know. If you have never seen it before, it is brilliant. It is written by a lady called Amy Decision. Now, yeah, her name's spelt really weird, but it's Decision. She tells you in the book. Let me tell you a little bit about the book and her. So in the early 90s, Amy was a very frugal person. She probably still is a very, very frugal person. And she had ambitions to buy a farmhouse with a barn and, you know, get it for a really good price, but also pay for it so that they didn't have a mortgage and they didn't have debt and they were all sorted. That was her ambition. And she went about it by doing lots and lots of different frugal things. And she thought that there was a community out there of other frugal people. She saw herself a frugal zealot, so a complete tightwad. And so she decided to start writing a newsletter. So this is pre-internet days. If she was doing it now, she'd probably be doing a YouTube blog or she'd be doing a written blog. And the newsletter started out small, doing it from the kitchen, that kind of thing. But it ended up absolutely exploding and she ended up on American television programs and promoted the newsletter. And then some people got together and said, fancy putting it into a book. Now, she didn't want to do a book where you have categories, you know, this is what you do in the kitchen, this is what you do, you know, in terms of laundry. She wanted to keep it quite loose and free, like what the newsletter was. So she did 3 books, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, and I have got the complete book, which also includes a few extra months of the newsletter at the end. So then I think the newsletter went on for about 6, nearly 7 years in total. And then she felt that she'd talked about it enough and there you go, she was done. And she retreated back into a quiet existence. There's very few things out there now with her. She just quietly gets on with her life. She's probably got grandkids by now. Anyway, this book just tells you all sorts of ideas, not just from her, but also from people who wrote into the newsletter on how to save money. Some big ideas, but most of them are those little ideas that save you a bit here and there, but there are so many of them. And she's such a creative writer that they're so easy and brilliant to read. I literally sometimes just read this for fun because she's just such a creative writer. So this is the book and I'm going to take you through some of the pages and some of the things that I really, really like about it. One of the first things that I learned in this book was a price book. So what she did was she thought about the things that you would have normally in your cupboards and she would make a binder, put down the shop that she could get them from, how much they were and basically how much per pound each item was so that you could just keep track of your prices. Now, I don't do this. I did used to do this. I don't tend to do it anymore. Prices are changing so much now that, let me come back to me. Yeah, prices are changing so much now that it's so hard to keep track. But I do have a bit of a mental list on what I have been paying for different things. So I kind of know what are good prices and whether or not I should, you know, like my ham that I buy, my vegan ham, I know that's £2.60 generally. £2.50 in some stores, so I buy 1 pack at a time, maybe 2 at a push. But I know when that price drops, I'm in there and I'm buying it. I know how much my coffee costs. I know what much, you know, just the general things that we use that are a decent price. I know how much those prices are. So it's about keeping that mental list. And if you find it tricky to keep a bit of a mental list, it is worth doing a bit of a price book just to keep track of those major items that you know you buy frequently, so that if you're in a different shop than you would normally go into, it's a great idea to see if you've got something that is an absolute bargain price, and is it worth buying 10 of them instead of your normal 2. Just a quick thing on this page. I mean, you can see how well used this book is, but even the cats have been in there and found this book really interesting, as you can clearly see. This was a really good page that I really enjoyed. What to do with. So it's just thinking about those random things that you get. So what to do with pickle juice. You know, you've got a jar of really nice gherkins or pickles or something like that. You get to the end of it, what do you do? Well, personally, I fill mine back up with loads of cucumber and make my own pickles again. Do you recommend using it for sweet pickle chops? What to do with bread bags? Some people use them in the freezer. To be honest, I either recycle my bread bags, or I save a few of them for when it is a big clear up job in the garden of dog doo-doos, because sometimes those little plastic bags just don't do it. Toilet paper tubes, half-eaten apple. Well, most people have just bin a half-eaten apple. No, trim off the bit that's been eaten and save the rest of it. You know, some people go, oh, that's gross. But no, it's saving your money, you know. Just thinking about all the different bits that you can do with things that you just wouldn't even think about. One main thing that I learned from reading the book was bags, you know, freezer bags. So I have my freezer bags, I do use them. We don't have meat in this house, so it's absolutely fine. But yes, I do wash my freezer bags and use them again. In fact, at this moment in time, this one is just on here, just finishing drying out. Sometimes I'll stack them on top of, you know, maybe I'll just put one on top of a glass just to dry it out, because people will say, oh, it's only 2p. Well, yeah, but it's 2p of my money. It's not 2p of your money, it's 2p of my money that I'm spending. And every single one of those things that I do, just those little things, will save me money overall. I mean, there's only so many times you can save big. Car insurance, right, go on the comparison sites, save a load of money doing that way. Home insurance, travel insurance, all different things like that, where you can save a good chunk of money by going out and, you know, looking on your comparison sites and saving money that way. But you can only do that once a year. I need to save money every day, because if I'm not saving money every day, then I'm not going to be saving that much money at all. So it's just those little things that I do that will help me to save even more. It's the drip, drip, drip factor. You know, if you leave a tap on, it will drip, it will drip, it will drip, but soon you'll have a bowl full of water. It doesn't take as long as you think. And that's my policy, and that was Amy's policy on saving money. So thinking about those little things that you do, some people go, it isn't worth my time too. Well, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it is. And you have to think about what you're going to do and whether it's worth your time and money. Now, obviously, the prices on here are out of date, but the theory is still behind it. You have to think, right, what am I doing? What's the money saving my activity I'm doing? So I do my bags. It saves me a couple of pence. It barely takes me any time to do it, because if I'm washing up anyway, I can wash up and throw a bag through. So it's going to take me seconds to do it. So overall, it's saving me, if I did that with all my bags over an hour period, I'd be saving pounds. You know, so it's thinking about how much it would be costing you as an hourly rate. So this is one thing that Amy did. So here we go. It takes me 15 minutes to make 2 box lunches that cost 45 cents, whereas a school lunch costs 95 cents. So my hourly rate is $2. She talks about other values like she's doing it because it's healthier or it's maybe more environmentally friendly. Her enjoyment level is a 2, but she's not too fussed. It takes her not that long. You know, here's hers at the bottom. She's like, I could go to work as a graphic designer. My hourly rate would be that. It's not really worth that much to her. And her enjoyment level would be 1. Because that's what she was trained as. Here we go. Jim spent 20 hours, Jim's her husband, shopping and negotiating for a new car and saved $2,000 off the sticker price. Hourly rate, $100 an hour. Other values, not much. Enjoyment, well, Jim clearly enjoys doing that, so that's what he spent his time doing. Again, like I say, it's those ideas of little things add up in the long run if you're prepared to do it. If it's not worth it for you, if you don't feel any value in it, then don't do it. You know, it's always a personal choice. So you know, if you've been watching this channel, I love doing cooking and finding different ways of cooking. Amy does the art of leftover wizardry. So what do you do when you've got leftovers? So you have a menu management method. So you generally have no leftovers because you have a family that devours everything you cook. You're psychic and can accurately predict the appetites of every family member, and you live alone and possess the rare intuition that enables you to monitor internal signals indicating the size of your relationship between your eyes and your stomach. However, most people don't fall into those categories. So what do you do with leftovers? Leftover lunch. That's my main way. I cook up enough. I always end up cooking more than I need, so I'll put it in for a lunch. Perpetual soup. Put leftover bits into a container and make yourself one big soup. Or you could do it as a pie recipe. This I've done sometimes in the past is if I've found I've got loads of things in the freezer and I wasn't sure what they were. If you saw one of my freezer clear outs, I had like 3 containers where I was like, I don't know. Smorgasbord night. So you get out the leftovers and you cook them and people just take the bits that they want. Cereal leftovers. You deliberately make too much. That's my other method. Make too much to make sure we have leftovers so that some of it can be frozen or I can some of it. So this is a really good way of thinking about using up your leftovers. Some of those ways when I first started being frugal, I didn't really think of. I never thought about just using the leftover bits at the bottom of a container. So say if we did a pie and there was like a spoonful left and it wasn't enough for a meal the next day, I'd think, oh, well, she'll just throw it out. And I've never really liked throwing things out. But this gave me a new thought. Oh, okay, well, I'll just freeze lots of little portions of things and then have them as a big portion of something. You know, I like going for a buffet lunch. You know, where you take a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of the other. So it's perfectly acceptable to have a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of the other on my plate at home. This was one of my favourite pages. This made me become a little bit more creative. So ways to use up old jeans. Now, I don't wear jeans, tend to wear jeans nowadays, but I did used to wear bootcut jeans. I used to look very good in them. But obviously jeans wear, and if you are a girl who has got thighs, then you know that jeans wear in certain places and, you know, they end up going in the bin. You can patch them for so long, but then they end up going in the bin. We know it happens. So I saved up a lot of my jeans and I'm thinking, well, what can I do with these? I did make the denim handbag. It worked out really well. It's basically just the top part of your jeans and you sew at the bottom and then use the legs to make a strap. It worked really, really well. And actually, I made a quilt for my daughter to go on one of her, she had one of those beds where it was a sofa at the bottom and a bed at the top, and the sofa at the bottom had a big cover on it, and I wanted to just to protect it a bit more, so I made a cover out of jeans. I made a patchwork one. If I can find the picture somewhere, I think I put it on Facebook somewhere, I will post it in this video so that you can see what I did. If I could, I would practically take you page by page through this book. Like I said, it is so readable and brilliant. And yes, some of the things might not apply to you. You know, if you're childless, there's sections in there about children and the cost of raising children. it doesn't apply to you, skip those pages. But what I found in a lot of the pages, it wasn't a case of, well, that's not applicable to me. It was more of a case of, well, what can she teach me about how I can use more methods of saving money, not specifically saving money on that one item, but how I can use the method that she was talking about to save money on other items and doing it that way. If you can hear a beep in the background, I need to change my smoke alarm battery, but I'm not going to do it till Chris is home, because with my dodgy sciatic legs, knowing me, I will climb on a chair to change it and I will fall off. So I'm going to wait till Chris is at home. So I'm going to have to listen to the beep of the smoke alarm for the rest of the day. Lucky me. But don't scrimp on that battery, because that battery is going to be important. We do have some in. I always buy batteries when they're on a good offer. Have some in. You never know when you're going to need them. That's a complete aside. If you would like to learn more about the Tightwad Gazette, I have been on YouTube. There are a few other videos out there, but there are not that many. But if you want me to do a part 2 to this video, to go through some more of the things that Amy did in her book, or if you want to have a chat about some of the things in Amy's book, if you have read it, please let me know in the comments below. I would be very, very grateful. I hope you enjoyed this video. A bit different from what I normally do. Back to usual service on the next video. Not sure what I'm going to be doing in that one. I'll have to have a think. Maybe give me some ideas. It's always helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.